Good morning and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. We are live. Today is June 21. Mark that, June 21, 2023. Bender, how are you, sir?
I'm all right. Thank you.
You know what today is, don't you?
You just told me. It's the 21st.
Correct. Do you know what
But
tomorrow is?
yeah, it's the 22nd.
Except that it might be the exact same day. Because we have Powell on the Hill testifying for the next 2 days starting today. So it may, in fact, be the exact same day, yet different at the same time.
It's going to take me a while to process that.
All right. DM me if you need help with it.
Okay.
I got graphs and charts, imageries and whatnots. All right. So let's get into some of the action. The big buzz, if you will, this morning is revolving around how inflation in Europe is not really coming down, and they're using the word sticky. It's very sticky. It's sticky. It's like gorilla glue sticky. Apparently, very sticky. What do you think about when you hear the word sticky, Bender?
The crap that my kids leave on the counter and how it's like invisible. You don't know it's there until your hand touches it, and then you're like, what the hell is that?
Right. But so it's not a positive thing.
It's typically not a positive thing.
It's a negative connotation to sticky. Unless you're talking about sticky buns. Sticky buns are good. The stickiness from a donut is good. But for the most part, nobody's a big fan of sticky. Anyways, so that's what they're saying over there. So I think that's going to come up a little bit as far as the inflation picture with Powell today. And we also get jobless claims tomorrow. The other piece of it is FedEx does what FedEx always does for the most part. They did not impress people on ER. They're basically saying that demand is somewhat softening. Maybe not. I don't know if that's just a FedEx thing. We've talked about this before. Is it a FedEx thing? So now I get to wait for UPS to report. It's like, what is this? But FedEx being FedEx does what FedEx does. Across the market, there was a lot of buzz as far as Elon meeting with pretty much any world leader that would take a meeting with him. A lot of buzz as far as expansion into Europe. And then he met with Modi yesterday, looking to kind of capitalize on getting into that market somehow, some way into the India market, which obviously would be gangbusters for Tesla. But these things have to develop. And the one thing that, that we can glean from Apple's attempt to kind of get in there, you're going to do it their way completely, or you're not going to do it. They're not going to give you access. So that kind of paints the overall picture of how we are looking from a news narrative standpoint. It seems like, what's weird, Bender? This is where I get like really paranoid and kind of sketched out a little bit. So when we were down around that 380, 400 level, everybody was saying we're all going to die, right? Wasn't that pretty much the baseline that we're all going to die? There's going to be a recession. You got to get out of equity. You got to put your money into this little savings account to get this 5-cent yield, whatever it is. It's like that over and over again. That's just like no. Got to stay away from tech. That was the buzz then. So now, when we're banging up here, now we're getting the exact opposite from Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Schwab. All these cats are like, oh no, it's just getting started. It's just getting started. Which isn't that kind of the moment when they start telling you one thing, you start looking the other way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Isn't that kind of the
Yeah.
way that works? Because
Yeah.
they're
I mean, when we were at all-time highs and they were calling for, you know, a melt up like none we have ever seen.
mhm,
Uh, when we were 480 on SPY, and they're like, we're going to 600.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Like Shopify was going to go to like 2000 or whatever it was. And, all this, it's like we were going to see Amazon 5,000 and like just on and on and on as far as
Mm-hmm.
that type of conversation. But now it's starting to switch. It's like, no, it's like you have to. It's like, so then it's like, okay, so what's really going on? What's really going on? Um, it's fun to talk about, difficult to trade. So instead of talking about, like I did yesterday with my little, I don't want to say tinfoil, but my pontifications about life in the world, why don't we get into things that actually matter, Bender, that actually have real substance, that do not lie? There is no lie. Those are your
Are we
charts.
going to talk about your hips
My hips? When do you talk about my hips? Did we talk about my hips
or
yesterday?
I
We
don't
talked
know.
about my hips.
Hips don't lie, right?
Well, yeah. They do
All right. Anyway.
nowadays. It's all a lie nowadays. They do. They do. Hips lie nowadays because you got Spanx, you got people putting implants in, you know.
Can't even trust the hips these days.
You can't it's like
That's what you're telling
everything
me.
is just the fugazi. Everything. Fugazi.
I'm
The
still
only
trying to
thing
figure out what pontifications means. But
just
it's fine.
pontificate
I'll just go
on
with
the
it. Yeah.
pontification and you'll get there and you'll be like, wow, I pontificate a lot more than I ever thought
I
that I
asked
did.
I asked one of the, it wasn't Chat GPT, but one of the other ones, what the SPX dealy majigget was that you referenced yesterday, and it didn't know the answer.
See, that's because they need to hire me to go ahead and teach the AI some I.
some high. Did you watch the? I don't know if you heard me talking about this, but real quick, did you watch the Tucker Carlson thing? That episode 5.
I did not. What was it regarding?
Hunter Biden's like essentially what I would equate to an NFT, but it's not. It's not a digital version. Apparently, he was selling prints of his quote artwork to foreigners. These prints sold for $75,000 a pop, raising him about $500,000. And then he sold the actual painting for $500,000. There was several of them. And if you look at them, it looks like somebody took a cotton ball, dipped it in paint, and then, dotted a canvas with it and said, there's a tree. Fun. Good stuff. I got a chuckle out of that. Like, really? Really?
Well, we've seen that girl that sells her farts in a jar. Right. We've seen that.
That is the
This girl
thing.
farts in a jar and seals them, and then you have idiots buying them for more money than you would possibly even imagine. But I think it kind of goes back to what my dad told me when I was young. He was like, son, no matter what, always understand, no matter what piece of shit you have, no matter what junk you have, there will always be a buyer for it. No matter what it is, there will always be a buyer. No matter what.
Pontificate on that for a second. All right.
Do
So,
and then go look at the Nicola chart, and then
yeah, right. Pops, there's a few things I would disagree with that. Like, for a long time, there was not a buyer for SoFi in sight for
inside
miles.
miles.
Okay. Here we go. So let me go to a 60-minute here real quick. All right. So you can see I have the yesterday's gap here shaded, which, when you look at it, it's you can't tell that there's the gap there. If I switch the chart to regular trading hours, there it is. All right. So I've got that highlighted there, keeping an eye on that on any sort of move up. If I go back to regular trading hour or extended trading hours. So what I was watching yesterday was this fair value gap here that on this 60-minute candle. I drew that based on the 60-minute candle just to show kind of where that straight line up, where that action took place. Yesterday, we kind of dipped down into it. Didn't quite come all the way down to the bottom, but, we were watching that 41.1175 based on, I think it was the 15-minute candle. Actually, no, 60-minute candle, kind of the top right there, 41.1175. So we dipped down into that, and then they, pushed it right back up. And then they kind of made it look like this, inverse head and shoulders-ish sort of here. But ultimately didn't retake this candle's high right here, 44.45. They did not take that, missed it by a tick. This red shaded box here was the first fair value gap of the week. So I tend to track those. A lot of times we'll trade back into them. Don't know whether or not we'll do that, but if we do start pushing back up, obviously, this area here is holds significance, right? That's up right around that 44.45, kind of right in there. This morning, and actually since we started this little broadcast here, I was kind of watching this 44.26, which now we've broken that. If I zoom into a 15-minute, okay, we're on a 15-minute. Looking at the 15-minute, there is not a whole lot in here as far as fair value gaps are concerned, right? So now our eyes are back on this 44.10. Yesterday was tough, Hells, because I had this initial move nailed. What I did not have nailed, I expected a bounce off 44.10, 44.11. I was looking for, I figured it would bounce there. I didn't think they were going to take it all the way back up here. What I was kind of looking for, expecting, was we would get a bounce in here and ultimately go down and take this 43.94.25.
Have you not been paying attention for the last 2 months?
Oh, I have, but
Okay, so then how could you not expect for it to do that? That's all it does.
It is all it does. So, looking at this, that this level down here is still kind of hanging out, right? And then you got a few handles lower down here, that 43.81.5. But looking at this, it's like at the moment, it's trending lower, right? On a 15-minute. If I go to a 60-minute, it is trending lower, right? Until, we get back above, say, 44.40, really needs to go kind of fill this gap, get above it, and establish support up there around 44.50. Until that happens, these 60-minute candles are trending lower, right? So, on a maybe we get a bounce up, and a push back. You can see I was just on the 60-minute. You can see this candle here, right? So there's a 60-minute fair value gap here up to 44.29.25 that it could, potentially trade back into. But below 44.10.75, you see what we've got here. Do we fill down to 44.06.75 and then bounce again, or this time does that break? If it does, then we should get that 43.94, and likely it would take this low, considering it has not been taken, right? These three lows here have not been taken. So if we are going to break that, I would anticipate that it takes
How many
these out.
handles
And
down from where we are now?
from here, you got about 40.
Okay.
To break this, that 4410 half, you're talking about 11. And then from there, you got another 15 to get to this low. And then another 15, 13 to get to this low down here. On the flip side, again, if it's going to bounce or move up and kind of break this current trend, then we'd look for it. It needs to get through this 44.29 half and, establish, I'd say, 44.29 half to 44.33, 34. It needs to establish this area in here as support. And then you want to see it, break this 44.44, fill the gap. So those are kind of the target areas if it's going to push up. But until this trend changes, it's still, at least for now, these are 60-minute candles. It is still moving lower.
Well,
I think what makes it difficult is you can look at this and go, yes, everyone can agree that for the last several days, these 60-minute candles keep moving lower, but then these types of moves, you said it yesterday, you said you can't just sit in it, right? Because you get these sort of snapback rallies that don't make a higher high. So it continues this trend. But I can tell you that when we were down here at 44.10, I was looking at some short positions going, I was up really, really nicely.
yeah.
And, I took profit on some stuff, but not as much as I should have. And then as we're pushing back, it's like, oh my God.
Now you're just like, no, same thing. I'll give you an example. I got in at open yesterday. I got into 362 puts at 99 cents. Okay. On Q. So I hit those puts. They went from 99 cents to, I think, like 210, maybe 201, something like that. Took some off. Right. And I'm like, okay, I can just sit in this thing and let it go. So then we start moving back the other way. Sold some more at 150, going like, fuck this. It's like, are you kidding me? They ended up closing at 96 cents.
Yeah.
So it's like on a day to where everything was looking until the last part of the day, like we were really going to get, a strong, and then some of that flow coming in completely just flipped everything, making you look like it's like, okay, so the last couple of contracts I took off even. Just because it's like, I'm not going to go out like that. I'm not going to do what it's been doing and then have a massive gap up. And then now I'm at 0%. It goes to zero. Yeah. It is so now on the flip side, it's like you get into calls and it's just like, if you buy enough time, it's like, don't sweat it, homeboy. It's going to come to your price. Don't sweat it. Which is, you start looking at that trend. Now what you got over there, Bender, are we now looking at one of the biggest falling wedges
right.
ever? Are we doing the fallingest wedges thing when what we were doing for the past couple of months, the most risingest wedge? Look at Apple. Look at a lot of these tickers. It's like the most risingest wedge that ever existed. Is this the most fallingest wedge that's ever existed? I don't fucking know, man. It's like when they come in and they hit Boeing and Tesla and Nvidia and everybody and their mother with risk reversals, bullish risk reversals. It's like, okay, well, that's a lot of millions that are pointing in the other direction. How is this going to shake out? Anyways, I'm sorry to jump in, but please go ahead.
No, that pretty much sums it up. I don't have a whole lot else. I mean, that's
Shit's annoying, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit irritated. Shit's annoying. It's annoying.
It's
It really,
annoying.
really is. It's annoying. Just
Yeah.
yeah. And the only thing that they want to do is have me thinking about a bunch of rich assholes on a fucking submarine. It's like I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about your stupid fucking submarine.
Oh yeah,
You
the
want me to
Titanic
cry because
explorers.
some rich fucks dumped 250K a head to go fucking play stink finger, a mile below the surface? It's like, no, dude, you can watch all this on YouTube and save your money. You coulda. And sorry. Where's Stonkington? Maybe he can bring some sanity to the conversation. Stonk, what you got,
Seriously.
buddy?
I'm here. I'm ready. I'm not gonna blow it like yesterday. Let's go. Get the screen going here. And along with that, we got a new world record. Hell's
Here we go. This is gonna send me over the edge. I know it. I can just feel it.
I think you're gonna like this one, considering you're a gourmet, right?
Correct.
Longest cooking marathon by an individual. Any guesses? How long could you cook for? Marathoning, just cooking.
What am I cooking?
I don't know. What do you lobsters? What do you cook?
Well, I don't know, because if you're making chili, it's like you just get it going and you just come check on it every once in a while. You can do whatever you want. You can go mow the yard and come back, and it's chili still there. If you're doing burgers, you got to flip and fire. You're doing brisket, for the most part, you come back and check it every once in a while. I need context.
I mean, this is if you're going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records for how long you were cooking. You think you can put chili in a crock pot and walk away for 2 days and say you did it?
Well,
Is meth involved?
Well, I think we've come to the conclusion performance enhancing drugs are okay when it comes to Guinness. I think we've determined that through these other competitions. I'm going to say
we got guesses rolling in. 69 hours from Sooner. Repeats going 36.
So let me ask you, are they measuring this in hours or days for the answer?
We've got hours here.
Hours. I'm going to go 54 hours.
54
No. I'm going to go 72 hours. 73 hours. 73 hours.
I'm going 74.
Oh,
I'm going to go 75. I'm going to go
I'll go 75.5. No, you already gave your answer, Hells. You got 73. I got 74. Let's go.
Fine.
Yeah. Well, we got a winner, and it's Bender. 93 hours and 11 minutes.
That's ridiculous.
It would have taken us a while to get
so
to.
what were they cooking?
I don't know. You gotta. Oh, Fishwisher is gonna.
What do you mean
Yeah,
you
you
don't
gotta go
know?
look her up. There you go. There she is cooking 90. All right. Charts time. Let's look at this. Okay. NASDAQ pulling back here. I'm going to be watching this line right there, 178.75. Mr. T would mark this up as an order block. We've got our down close candle that we bounced off of, and we can see this candle has come. This area has been important. So if we're going to, pull back to it, I'd like to see that hold for bull. If we have to continue to the downside, this wick, there's a good example. If you were still wondering if Mr. T knows what he's talking about, because this is that fair value gap, and look where we pulled back to. So that was a Mr. T snipe. If we were going to continue to the downside, we left this is still open down here. So that would be downside target. Upside, first thing I'd be looking for is to fill in this. You can see this fair value gap right here between those two candles. And so that has room up to 237.25. This area I marked just based on this little imbalance there on the daily, but we're just kind of getting things started. So I'd kind of be watching to see. And then again, this was our new week opening gap line. So you can see that was basically that push up on yesterday morning. And then we rejected basically right there. So that's what kind of got going on the NASDAQ. It was interesting to see the end of the day yesterday where we had that big push without Apple participating. but we also saw the NVIDIA flow was just popping off. A lot of other stuff was making a nice move. If we swap over to the Russell, this is kind of, I mean, if we did this huge flag here, that would be kind of something I'd be looking for. Let's see. I think I had a line that's, yeah, we can see this this pink line, new week opening gap, and then looks like there would be something kind of significant right around here. And we've got 45 minutes on this candle. So I think a close above this 1881.80 would be a nice bullish signal. We'll see if they build out this or let this big massive flag play out. You can see I don't have any real fair value gaps in this area up until here, and even this one they traded through it already. So we'll kind of see what we get. I would probably have something like up in this area as a first upside target if we're able to push 93.60. If we have to continue to the downside, here's the yellow boxes are daily fair value gaps. So the first downside target would be 1861.30 on the Russell. If we jump over to some individual tickers, for what I have on the list for today, we've got this setup on Apple. You can see the pre-market push down was right into this dark pool. Oh, right. The dark pools were not showing up in the yellows. Hopefully that's easier to see. So here, these are our dark pools in the area. In this area, we've got 183.95. I marked this as the put trigger 184.35, just based on the number of reactions to that line. So, and we're sitting on it. If we're going to push to the upside, they tacked on to this 185 level last night. So there's now 28% of average 30-day on Apple sitting at 185 flat. It's going to be important. And if we push to the upside, this would be the first line I'd be looking for. Very strong resistance yesterday at 186, which was also a dark pool. NVIDIA. Let's check that out. So NVIDIA, we know what happens when it starts to look like a massive rising wedge. It fucks everybody and goes up. I've got this line below 431.80. We can see how it's reacted a bunch of times. So if I'm going to see what we get if we push down there. Yesterday there was a dark pool, 438.08, and then I just have yesterday's high marked. But if we're going to push upside, this would be the dark pool would be the first thing I would be watching. So that's what I had officially on the watch list. I think there's a couple other things that would be important to check out. Got a couple minutes. Visa was ridiculous last night. This line here, 227.17, 130% average 30-day. Below last week was other historic. Oh, right. The yellow line's not showing up. So last week there was this one below, and I have alerts set on these. So these two lines are like historic volumes on dark pools for Visa. So this one has an alert set to pop in the room, and I wasn't sure if we were going to hit it overnight, so I'll probably just throw an alert on that one as well. So, and I got to go to the office today, but I would be watching for this and we'll watch for flow. So we'll see what we get, but I mean, it's basically battle of the dark pools on Visa, and whichever one hits first, I'd be looking for a continued move in that direction. So that's significant. And then the other one was coin. We had crypto news yesterday. This was the line I mentioned, or I had on the chart pre-market. So even with a pullback, we're bouncing above. So I'm looking for more upside on coin. We had the bullish, all our favorite, most trusted bankers are going to have their new exchange. And it is in a
They have good culture, Stonk. Don't leave that out. Their culture, remember?
Ooh,
That's
yes.
what the federales told us. Culture.
Quite cultured.
Yes.
So, I would say for upside targets, we've got. So this was the call trigger. apparently whatever pre-market didn't like this dark pool 6031, so we'd have to pop that. And then next, a lot of these, I kind of did the fibs to line up with some of these dark pools. So looking up 67, and then what is that? I mean, coin's range is ridiculous when it gets going. So it's like, what did this take from March 13th in 7 days? It had what, a 30-point run. So it's like the range is ridiculous. It gets news impacts. So if you trade it, I would just say have some awareness. I was like looking, like Baba is another one. I was looking for Baba to keep going, and then they had news over the weekend and pulled back. So just something to be aware of, but I like coin for continued upside. And I think that's all I've got.
So yeah, I think you bring up an interesting point, bringing up coin and then obviously feeding back into crypto. Crypto, it just has been on fire the last, 36, 48 hours to the upside. Like just absolutely thumping to the upside. And we were talking, I don't know, it was last week or the week before, how we've noticed some, legitimate divergence in these charts between crypto and the SPY machine. Or the ES. How do you feel about that looking at it now with, a pretty decent, opposite direction move over the last 24, 48 hours? Bender?
Yeah, we were talking about it like when the ES was pushing down, or ES was pushing up and crypto was pushing down. And we looked at the Bitcoin chart, which is, I have on the screen right here, is a daily Bitcoin chart, and we were talking about the fact that they tend to come back together, and they sort of have done that, right? ES has pulled back a little bit, Bitcoin has pushed up a little bit, and looking at this, so this is a daily chart, right? And we ran essentially to the 1618 extension, and then off this most recent up move, pulled back to the 50% level, and now it's pushing up off of that. So, as far as I'm concerned, we were looking for them to kind of come back together, and that's what's happening. Makes sense.
All right. Well, there we have it, everybody. We got 6 minutes still open. I don't know. We bottoming here, Bender? Coming into market open? Is there a reason for us to bounce here?
I mean,
looks like it's trying to bottom out.
Maybe.
And the VIX never got, VIX once again, did not move a fucking inch on any of this downdraft.
But I would say, I don't know, not really. As far as is there a reason?
Well, no, I'm just wondering if there's a technical level or a technical reason other than that shenanigan area back over there that your mouse is on right now, as far as area of interest. Yeah, I can see that. Party on. Be aware today, you got Powell that's going to be blabbering in about 30, 45 minutes. So as he blabbers, we should get market moves. When he's off, we should get another larger move, and then he's going to do it all over again tomorrow. So trade what you see, trade what you feel comfortable with, and have a good day. That's all I got. Fellas, you have anything else?
Nope.
All right, very good.
1461 SPXS, massive dark pool that I missed yesterday. On watch. That's all I got.
On watch, the man says. All right, very good. Thanks, Stonk. Thanks, Bender. We'll see you guys soon.
See you in a few.